Good Monday morning to you on a Monday, as always, joined by Dan Riskin, our CTV science and technology specialist. I wish we were doing TV right now.
I
Dan
know.
was dancing during the break and some good moves there.
Yeah,
The
I thought
seated dance moves.
we were having trouble. You couldn't hear me, so I thought maybe if I danced, it would help you be able to hear me better. This is why I'm not the technical person. This is, I mean, I could talk about tech, but I can't actually fix the microphone and make it work. But we work. It's working now because you have a great team and they got it working.
Yeah, fingers crossed the whole way. That's how we how we do broadcasting around here. Okay, talking about broadcasting, I'm hoping you have seen this. If you have not, you got to go watch it at some point. There's a British show
British,
called
Joe.
Would I Lie to You? Have you ever seen that? It's like a panel
No.
show. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is what I do when you've had a long, stressful day and you just need to laugh. I've shown a couple other people. They don't get it. They don't really like it. You get it the more you watch it. And so I kind of have a theory around this show that pertains to what we're going to talk about because these guys have been doing it for seasons. I have just discovered it. I'm terrified it's going to run out because I need these clips for late at night. But there's been two main team captains on either side. The idea is guests come on, they tell stories, you have to decide if it's truth or a lie. I
Yes.
feel like it is getting harder for the guys who've been on all those seasons to decipher whether the other is lying. And then I saw this story. I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense because what you are saying, or what this appears to be saying, is that if someone's a friend, we're more likely to buy their lies. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yeah, exactly. This is a really interesting study. So the way it's set up, they had pairs of people. Sometimes they were friends. Sometimes they were just strangers to each other. They wore these things that scan your brain. It's like a little hat that you wear that measures your brainwave activity, and basically people had to tell each other. Should you push the blue button or the red button? And there was a little bit of deception because you could say to somebody, you should push the blue button because you'll get more money. But really, I was going to get more money. And so you could lie to them about which one they should push and which one's in their best interest. And what they found in the study is that the brainwave activity between friends was much more synchronized than the brainwave activity between strangers. And the amount of brainwave activity predicted how gullible the person was going to be. And so when you are talking to somebody and you are friends with them, your brain waves literally synchronize. And this is something that I'm so fascinated with because when people play music together, this happens. When people are playing sports together, this happens. But when people are against each other, or if they're strangers, you don't get that kind of synchrony. And what this is showing is that that synchrony sets you up to be gullible for a lie. In other words, you're putting your guard down and you're trusting that person and you're more likely to get duped.
Does that mean we have really good synchronicity, you and I, if we can finish each other's
Breakfasts? Yes, absolutely. I can't
not
remember what.
quite there yet. Not quite there yet. Okay,
We're
so
working on it, but I do think I mean right now we have eye contact, which often we haven't had when we're doing radio, and so that makes a difference to how synchronized you get, and it's really neat that the when we have this language, like we've always said, oh, I'm in sync with you, oh, we're on the same wavelength. It's literally true that your brain is actually synchronized with another person, and this you could look at this as a drawback of it because you're more gullible, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it just shows that trust our friends more than we trust other people, and you can see that in the wavelength.
makes all kinds of sense. All right. Well, you're talking about the language of it. Let's talk about language and multilingualism. So, if vous parlez français, une autre langue, what you're likely to slow down your brain aging. This also seems logical
Yeah, this
because
is great. So they
smart people
looked at
speak a lot of languages.
yeah, yeah, and speaking other languages is hard, and so it's exercise for your brain, and so your
Mm.
brain lasts longer is the thinking. They took like a survey of like 86,000 people across Europe, many of whom are unilingual, many of whom are bilingual, some of whom are multilingual, and asked them to fill out a whole bunch of surveys where they measure their health, but also their cognitive performance. And based on their health and their cognitive performance, they guessed what the person's age was. And then then they looked to see what the real age of the person was and they compared. And what they found is there's a staggering difference between people who only speak one language, who are basically their accurate age where they should be, and people who speak two languages who are younger than they should be. Or I guess they're older than they should be, but their brains are doing better than they should at that stage of life. And what's really cool is that it's additive. So if you actually speak three languages, you're doing even better than somebody that only speaks two. And so it really suggests that this like mental workout of just trying to speak in another language has all kinds of cognitive benefits.
It makes so much sense. I remember being on a French language exchange. I was a late can't even speak English right now. I was a late French immersion
The irony.
student, so it started in grade 6. My French was at its best at the end of grade 6 because we had a fabulous teacher that year. Grade 8, I went to, the Lac Saint-Jean region, Delbo, for a French exchange for a couple of weeks, and, probably that was the 2nd highest peak for the French language because 'cause you're living with a family, you're in a town where they only speak French, you're working hard at it all day, and you can feel yourself working hard at it, and you're doing okay, but it's exhausting, and then at night, you climb into bed in your room, and you'd open an English language book, and you just feel yourself, just relax into the fact that it was easy and the language
Yes.
just kind of poured over you, and you you weren't working so hard, but it was probably good for your brain. It was like a 2-week boot camp, right? You're exercising.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I took French immersion until the end of grade 9, and then I went to a high school that didn't offer it, and so all of a sudden, all my classes were in English, and it was like I'd been wearing lead boots my whole school
Yeah.
career, and I took them off, and all of a sudden, I could run way faster. It was just school was so much easier, and school shouldn't be easy. I mean, it's not necessarily true that easier is better, so it's not I don't feel like that was wasted time that I was doing all that heavy lifting. But it definitely, you can feel it for sure. And I am sad to say I don't use my French as much as I wish I did because when I try to speak French, there's always quite an uphill climb before I can really get into the groove. But I am very glad that I still have it.
All right, next Monday, our entire segment in French, Dan Riskin, will make it happen for the good listener. How much will
Yeah,
people
we'll,
enjoy that?
we'll practice until then. I think I need the workout.
Uh, all right. Good stuff, Dan. Always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm sorry our time was a little shorter today. So we'll make sure it's extended the next time so you can get more French in.
Perfect. C'est très bien. Merci.